China's recent actions have sent shivers down spines across the globe, with its military ramping up activity around Taiwan, which China considers as a breakaway territory. The median line, once an unofficial border, is now routinely breached by Chinese warplanes. Military activities including joint patrols and unusual new nighttime tactical exercises have become a commonplace. With U.S. intelligence raising alarms of a potential joint invasion by China and Russia, the stakes have never been higher. But what lies beneath these ominous developments? Is China gearing up for a full-scale invasion, and if so, what are the implications for regional stability and global security? As these questions loom large, the spotlight shifts to potential defenders of Taiwan, with the US, Australia, and Japan emerging as pivotal players in any coalition. But beyond the immediate specter of conflict lies a web of strategic calculations and alliances, where the role of India emerges as a crucial factor. How significant is India's role in deterring a potential invasion of Taiwan? With its formidable military and economic strength, can India tip the scales in the battle for Taiwan's sovereignty? Let us analyze the Indo-Pacific geopolitics in shaping the fate of Taiwan. You will not want to miss the crucial insights waiting for you at the end. So, stay tuned. China, while displaying its military dominance over Taiwan, has also been secretly stockpiling resources. China's leader seems to have learned from how the West used sanctions against Russia over Ukraine. So, he is taking steps now to protect China against similar situations in the future if it invades Taiwan. Furthermore, China is strengthening its alliances and partnerships with countries that are less likely to support sanctions against it, thereby creating a network of economic and diplomatic support. She has started his tour in Paris, meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron, who has been stressing the idea of European strategic autonomy from the US. On a visit to Beijing last year, Macron courted controversy by saying France would not necessarily always align with the US in foreign policy, an apparent reference to American support for the self-governing Republic of Taiwan. After leaving France, she will visit Hungary and Serbia, both seen as China-friendly countries. Overall, these proactive measures underscore China's determination to mitigate the potential fallout of a Taiwan invasion and maintain its strategic interests amidst escalating tensions. While many experts may argue that China is not actively preparing for a full-blown war to occupy Taiwan, it is essential to acknowledge historical precedents. China has a history of surprising the international community with sudden and assertive military actions to advance its strategic interests. From its intervention in the Korean War in 1950, catching UN forces off guard, to the swift attack on Indian positions in the Himalayas during the Sino-Indian War of 1962, China has demonstrated a willingness to use force to assert territorial claims. Other notable examples include the shelling of Kinmen in 1958 and the occupation of features in the Spratly Islands in 1988, both of which surprised neighboring countries and escalated regional tensions. Now the major question is who all will defend Taiwan? Well, the US, Australia and Japan would be the core of any alliance to defend Taiwan from an attack by China. But the Indo-Pacific is enormous, so the success of this coalition depends on access to bases in the Philippines and perhaps South Korea, which could help Washington bring its air power to bear. Use of logistical facilities in Singapore would also make it easier to operate in the South China Sea. Overflight rights from Southeast Asian countries would allow the US to get long-range bombers stationed at Diego Garcia into the game. But wait, all these countries fear an expansionist, China. Would they step in to later take fury of the dragon? This is where India steps in. Its military and economic strength offer a counterweight to China's ambitions. Naval exercises and arms sales to Southeast Asian nations like Indonesia deepen India's engagement, complicating Beijing's designs. The US considers the US-India relationship the most important for the 21st century. But do not get carried away, because India can be both a hard-headed and a half-hearted partner. There is no enthusiasm for anything like a formal alliance with Washington. India is too big, has too much of a history and identity as a great civilization, to be attached to someone else. India has traditionally pursued a policy of non-alignment and strategic autonomy, preferring to maintain flexibility in its foreign relations and avoid entanglements in military alliances. For example, India maintains healthy relations with both USA as well as Russia, and despite USA sanctioning other countries for oil purchases from Russia, it was not able to influence India to do the same. But New Delhi has a real stake in the survival of a free Taiwan. After taking Taiwan, Beijing could then pivot to settle affairs with India on land. And in general, a world in which China is emboldened and the US and its democratic allies are badly bloodied by a Taiwan conflict would be very nasty for India. So, while a direct military intervention seems improbable, India's role as a strategic deterrent is undeniable. Here is why: China cannot concentrate its full military might on Taiwan if it needs to simultaneously guard against India along their shared border. This weakens the grip China could exert on Taiwan. Additionally, India's recent joint military exercises with the US near the line of actual control, India-China border, serve as a potent message, reminding China of the two-front war it risks if it pursues an invasion. US officials also quietly hope that India will grant access to its Andaman and Nicobar Islands, in the eastern Bay of Bengal, to facilitate a blockade of China's oil supplies. The Indian Navy could help keep Chinese ships out of the Indian Ocean. Furthermore, India's economic clout holds immense power. If China invades Taiwan, the economic repercussions for the US, Japan, and Australia would be devastating. This is where India presents a solution. By becoming a major trading partner, not dependent on China, these countries can lessen the economic blow of a potential conflict. Imagine a robust Indo-Pacific economic framework, one that excludes China and includes a rapidly growing Indian market, a strategic nightmare for Beijing. Therefore, while India might not be the knight charging into battle, its calculated moves behind the scenes play a vital role in shaping the fate of Taiwan. It acts as a crucial counterweight, a strategic headache for China, and a silent advocate for the island's right to self-determination.